What if all the goddesses and gods are actually all demons? We're just labeling these entities as gods or goddesses distinguished from demons. That's just a human-made technical distinction. What if they're all just actually demons? And they always have been. Beings are suffering. Pain is existing. Every variation of sentient experience or dynamic or interaction is some variation of villainy. I understand why people are averse to this idea of a goddess in paradise and innocence and all this stuff, because that in and of itself is extremely fucking dark. If you're even aware, that very awareness of that potentiality is a disturbance by itself. So by itself, that awareness of that makes it to where you can't fully be in bliss. So literally, to fully be in bliss, to fully be in pleasure, you literally have to be in what I would call the sacred delusion. In other words, oblivious to the existence of the potentiality of pain entirely, for that to be the case, right? Because the second you're aware of the potentiality of pain, that that's even a thing as a potential, boom, immediately you're disturbed by that. Especially as an empathic individual. So it's really, really interesting to me how people process this particular potentiality, this particular thought, this particular possibility in terms of this might be what's actually going on here. Because we know for a fact that no matter how deep of reality we go down into, that it's pretty much, there's a darkness to each depth and each tier of reality no matter how far into it you go. Even into the deepest depths of every possible paradise state, they're all still very dark in scope, aren't they? For this exact reason right here. For the very fact that this world has the potential of manifesting, has this element of darkness to it. That sentience and experience at every tier all the way down has this element of darkness to it. Right? Has this element of darkness to it. It's always a potential world, right? It has the potential to exist at any point. And the very fact that this thing came into existence and happened means that no matter how great the deepest depth of reality is, there's still a really dark element there. Even at the deepest, most paradise level tier of it, right? There's still this dark element of this potentiality ever remaining as a potential that could potentially exist, right? And that's the horror of it. So we know that reality, even the deepest depth of reality, is still not ideal. That's what we can understand. That the deepest tier of existence possible is still not an ideal existence for this very reason. In terms of the sense that pain has ever existed as a concept, as a potential, as anything ever, and is manifested into something, we know that the deepest tier of reality still is dark, even then, even if you're immersed in a paradise state. You have to be oblivious to the existence and the potential of pain to be fully immersed in pleasure. You have to be. Otherwise, you can't feel fully the pleasure. You can still be pleasured to a certain degree. It doesn't mean you'll have no pleasure at all. It just means that you won't be fully pleasured unless you're oblivious to the existence of pain as a potential, right? You have to be immersed in what I would call the sacred delusion, what others would call the horrifying delusion, and what others would call the demonic delusion, right? Of perpetual pleasure. A different perspective towards things you may not have thought of this way quite yet.